welcome back to
Megajordinary.
And it's
Spooky season.
So this is now officially the 5th video of spooky season. We have just 3 more videos to go. Our final video being posted on Halloween, October 31st. So make sure that you have the notification bell on so you can know when we drop the rest of them. Today's video is a very sad, scary, horrible tale from Halloween. And just a little disclaimer, we want to just add that we are going to be discussing topics of child's death and poisoning in this video. So we'll put up a little trigger warning now so that you know what the context of the rest of the video is going to be about.
So today's case is of the trick-or-treat murder, sometimes dubbed as the Candyman murder. So on October 31st, 1974, in Deer Park, Texas,
children were out trick-or-treating. There was a lot of excitement in the air. It was All Hallows Eve. But unfortunately, on this fateful night, things took a sinister turn for the worst.
8-year-old Timothy Clark O'Brien, his 5-year-old sister Elizabeth, were out trick-or-treating with their father, Ronald Clark O'Brien, and their neighbour Jim Bates and his son.
All of the neighbours in the area were home and had given the kids candy, but when they reached a certain house that was a little bit segregated from the rest of the residents' houses, they realised that the lights were all off, and so that either meant that the person wasn't home or the person was just reluctant to open the door for trick-or-treaters that night. The kids decided that they would just go up and knock on the door and see what happens anyway. And Ronald, Timothy and Elizabeth's father, said that the kids had ran ahead and done so, and he seen a man open the door, hand the children some candy and close it just as quick.
When Ronald caught up with the children, he asked the kids to show him the candy that they were given from the man in this house. He just had a little bit of a weird feeling in his stomach about this. So he just wanted to make sure that I was all above board, it was all okay, and just to make sure the candy was safe for the kids.
Ronald said that when he checked the candy, the children had been given pixie sticks from this mysterious occupant in the house. Now, pixie sticks are tube-like containers, almost like straws in like a little paper kind of sachet, that are filled with fizz. And yeah, this is what the occupant gave the kids. So Ronald said that it was okay, and Ronald took them and decided to fairly even them out amongst the children. So Ronald gave them to Elizabeth, Timothy, the neighbour Jim's son, and then another boy had joined them along the way, and he was also called Ronald, but he was a 10-year-old boy that they knew from church, so he got a pixie stick as well.
So when trick-or-treating time had ended, everyone went back home to their own houses. Ronald told the kids that they could pick one treat from the trick-or-treat bags before they went to bed. And Timothy proceeded to pick a pixie stick. So Ronald opened it and gave it to Timothy, and immediately after Timothy took a mouthful, he said that the candy tasted really weird. So Ronald gave him a glass of lemonade to wash the taste away, and a few minutes later Timothy ran to the bathroom holding his stomach in agony, screaming and getting sick.
Timothy also then began convulsing, and a couple of minutes after this, Timothy died in his father Ronald's arms. Timothy had been poisoned by this pixie stick. That investigators later confirmed that this pixie stick was laced with potassium cyanide. So Timothy's death caused mass hysteria in the community, and parents all over Deer Park and the neighbouring city Pasadena, which is where the children actually did trick-or-treat also on that night, the parents all turned in their children's candy to the local police station. So 4 out of the 5 pixie sticks that the children were given that night, according to Ronald, were recovered, and none of the children had consumed this candy. However, the parents of the 5th child searched the Halloween bag and they couldn't find the pixie stick anywhere, so they became hysterical and they actually ran up to the bedroom of their child, and their child was lying asleep on the bed holding the pixie stick, and it looked like he was trying to get it open, but because it was sealed so tight he couldn't get it open. So that was like by the grace of God that he, like, such a near miss.
So all 5 of these pixie sticks had been opened and the top 2 inches taken out and refilled with the potassium cyanide and then restapled so it looked like they hadn't been opened at all.
The pathologist that tested the pixie stick that was consumed by Timothy said that there was enough cyanide in it to kill 4 grown adults. So the police asked Ronald Clark O'Brien to bring them on an almost reenactment of that night so that they could distinguish what houses the children had went to that night, and they could investigate the residents of the properties. So when they were en route, it said that he couldn't remember which house it was that the children had gotten the pixie sticks from. And when the police investigated the houses that were on the route and they questioned the residents, they said that none of them had given out pixie sticks that night, and the police obviously could corroborate this. And after the police and Ronald had walked the neighbourhoods 3 times, finally remembered which house it was that the kids had gotten the pixie sticks from.
So at this point is when the police started to become suspicious of Ronald.
So now it's time to give a little bit of background on the Clark O'Brien family. So Ronald Clark O'Brien lived in Deer Park, Texas with his wife Daynane and their 2 children, Timothy and Elizabeth. O'Brien was actually a very well-known and well-liked member of the community. He was a deacon at the Second Baptist Church, where he had a lot of control over the choir. He sang in the choir, and he also orchestrated the local bus program. So he done that, and he was also an optician at Texas State Optical in Houston.
When police started to investigate Ronald, they found some evidence that really surprised them. So they had realised that Ronald was in debt of over $100,000.
And it came to light that Ronald had went through a total of 21 different jobs over the previous decade. And when they spoke to some of his old bosses, they said that he had an extreme anger problem.
And he was under investigation at his current job of theft and was at risk of being fired.
The family home was also close to being foreclosed on. So as you can see, the picture that's being painted now is he was up shit's creek without a paddle in terms of finances.
And even more crazy, the police discovered that Ronald had taken 2 life insurance policies out on his 2 children. In January 1974, Ronald had initially taken out $10,000 each in life insurance policies on his 2 children.
And then in the September, 1 month before Timothy's death, Ronald had requested to take out yet another $20,000 policy on each child, and the life insurance company were extremely apprehensive to this. They objected initially, but for whatever reason it went ahead anyway. So both of their policies together amounted to about $60,000. And when Ronald's wife was questioned, she said that she had absolutely no idea that Ronald ever done this.
The morning after Timothy's death, the life insurance company told police that Ronald had tried to collect the policies he had taken out on Timothy. It also came to light that Ronald had visited a chemical supply store in Houston to purchase cyanide just before Halloween.
The owner of the store said that he was asking really strange questions and was asking how much cyanide it would take to kill a human. The owner said that Ronald actually left then after that because he realised the smallest amount that you could buy was £5. So they actually never discovered where he got the cyanide from.
So as you can tell, at this stage it was very apparent to police that Ronald had killed his own child in order to cash in on these life insurance policies to pay for his debts.
So Ronald was arrested on November the 5th, 1974, just a couple of days after Timothy's death, and indicted on 1 count of capital murder and 4 counts of attempted murder.
Ronald entered a plea of not guilty on all 5 counts.
So during Ronald's trial, lots of people, co-workers, friends, family members testified against him, and during the trial the media dubbed Ronald as the Candyman killer.
On the 3rd of June 1975, a jury deliberated for 46 minutes and found Ronald guilty of capital murder and 4 counts of attempted murder.
He was then sentenced to death by electrocution, and he was executed on March 31st, 1984, just after midnight. Not by electrocution, but by lethal injection.
And in his final statement, Ronald maintained his innocence, and apparently a crowd of 300 demonstrators gathered outside the prison and cheered.
And throwed lots of candy at the anti-death demonstrators that were also outside the prison at the time, whilst screaming trick or treat. When I was growing up, I've always heard this like urban legend, and even before Timothy's death, it was like an urban legend that there was these crazy creeps that were going to poison people's candy, and you know, parents were always like kind of hell-bent on making sure that if their kids were going to consume anything that they received on their trick-or-treat journeys, that they were factory sealed and that no one could, you know, tamper with them. But that clearly wasn't the case in this instance, and it's just so sick to think that he killed his own child for financial gain. It's disgusting.
So let us know down below in the comments what you thought about this case. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Hit that little bell notification to be notified for all spooky season videos and every video going forward. And last but not least, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
And we will see you in our next spooky season video. Bye.